Hi everyone, it's the final day of play at the Olympics and it's the women's finals for day 14. Let's have a recap and see what happened.
Welcome everybody and welcome back to the last day recap. Day 14, the women's finals day, and what a day of hockey it was. Unfortunately, I have been abandoned by Alan once again. He sends his apologies. He has been stuck in work all day, though he is at the foot of the Eiffel Tower, so who's the real loser here? So, first game of the day was the bronze medal match, which was Argentina versus Belgium. It ended up in regular time 2-2, so we went to a shootout. It ended up being 3-2 to Argentina. Now, it was a very even game going into that first quarter for both teams. Belgium won a penalty corner fairly quickly from quite a bad tackle. First attempt, there was a re-award. It was flicked on this re-award, and rebound came back out, and Bouvray swept it in for the first goal of the game. 1-0 Belgium. So after this really good period of possession from the Belgians, Argentina, though, did threaten often from those sort of counterattacks with their pace and their skill. And really, right down to the very end, with about a minute 52 left, Argentina go right down the far end and win a penalty corner for, again, bad tackling from Belgium. It was a flick by Gozzolini. It was saved by the Belgian goalkeeper's stick. So it was a tight first quarter. And really, it went into that going into the second quarter. Straight away, Argentina win a penalty corner. It was a mistrap under the foot from the Belgian defender, and Gozzolini stepped up again. The flick was really well saved. The Belgian goalkeeper did very, very well at this point. Though after a few attempts, penalty corner was won again. Argentina referred it for a foot from a re-award, forgive me, and Gozzolini put the flick wide. So it stays 1-0 to Belgium. Again, the threat from Argentina was constant. Right down, once again, got another penalty corner. Gozzolini flick right into the roof of the net. It was a brilliant, really strong flick from her. It was past the post person and the goalkeeper. No one could do anything about it. 1-1 at this point. So Argentina with the tails up, they're going for it. They score really quickly again. To me, this was poor goalkeeping from the Belgian goalkeeper. I think this could have been saved and cleared a wee bit better than what it was. The rebound from the initial flick on goal was saved. It was straight back to Alvatario, who put the ball into the goal very easily. Like I said, I think from the initial save, it could have been cleared a lot better. And really, probably telltale signs at this point on what was going to happen with the likes of the Belgian goalkeeper. Don't get me wrong, she made some good saves, but I don't think her performance in this match was up to the highest standard that she potentially could have played. Though, right back into it, Belgium got a penalty corner. It was a great high ball from the Argentinians that led to it. The initial flick was saved by the goalkeeper, and the defenders just couldn't clear the ball. It fell right back to a Belgian player who slotted it in, and Razier got that goal. Really good goal to make it 2-2. So again, we calm a wee bit. Though, and this happened a few times, Belgium got a 5-minute yellow for quite a bad tackle on the Argentinians. So after a couple of penalty corners from bad tackles, this one led to a 5-minute yellow. And really, Belgium were put under a lot of pressure from when this player was sent off. Constantly, Argentinian backline was camped on the halfway line, really putting them under pressure. And though the Belgian defense held strong, they defended anything that came from them, but it was definitely a turn up from the Argentinian players. And then went into halftime. First half over and done with that quickly. And watching it went over that quickly. It was really high intensity stuff. So bit of stats for halftime. Very, very close in terms of the circle entries. Argentina had 8 circle attacking entries, Belgium had 6. So fairly similar in terms of their circle entries for their attacking, though Argentina had 59% of this possession opposed to Belgium's 41. That's quite a swing, and that was really the Argentinians holding the ball nicely, trying to get structured play, but not being able to find the last pass, and that was just down to the fact that the Belgians were defending well at this point. So we go into quarter 3, and it really stayed the same. There was early attacks from both teams. Both were defended well, and it was a bit. They almost cancelled each other out. The flair from the Argentinians was happening, but it was just real strong defense from the Belgians. And then it was the same again. Good structured play, good passing, leading onto a run from the Belgians coming out of their half or out of their quarter. But again, the running or shadowing defense from the Argentinians when these breakaways were happening from Belgium was very, very good. And really, that led to them then not having the opportunity to get a final pass away and really push for a goal. At 2 minutes 15 left into quarter 3, Belgium were finally back to 11 players. So defended very well once they were down a player. And really it sustained Argentinian pressure throughout. Good possession from them, good attacking pressure, but again, no final product. Belgium were defending very deep, but again, Argentina were almost just scared to throw that one extra player forward. That meant that they could be caught on the counter attack from Belgium, because the Belgium counter attacks throughout the tournament have been quite good, very strong. And again, like I said, Belgium got another green card for a body check, and Argentina, as soon as that player went off, Argentina started to press hard, and Belgium had to defend very deep. But again, nothing came of this. And really, I think from the yellow card at the end of the second quarter to the end of the game, Belgium had only 10 players on the pitch for almost 10 minutes. And that's quite a lengthy period of time for Argentina not to have scored. Again, very much praising the Belgium defense on this. They did extremely well in these situations, holding very nicely, not breaking their shape, and really keeping the Argentinians at bay, not allowing them to get into this free flowing style of hockey that they're used to playing. And umpires had to speak to both teams at this point, because both teams were complaining about almost every decision coming into the last few minutes of this quarter. Had to be. And I think this was down to the fact that both teams are fatigued. They've had a really intense first half of hockey, and I would say 3/4 of hockey in this third quarter. So it was a bit of frustration coming in, bit of tiredness, and equally they were almost scared of losing the ball. So when this was happening, it was like, oh, I've lost the ball. They're going to go back and score. So it was that fear of losing the ball, and that loss of ball leading to a goal was almost playing on players' minds, I think, during this game. And right at the end of the quarter, Argentina got a green card for not being 5. Again, that was the quarter over. Another quite intense bit of hockey from either team. It was probably the slowest quarter out of the first two, but we found that throughout the tournament. Quarter 3, after that slightly longer break, seems to be the quarter that they almost have to try and warm themselves, build themselves back into the game for a nail-biting fourth quarter. Right from the whistle, right from the head off in the fourth quarter, Argentina get a breakaway. It was a 1v1 on the keeper, and this was one of the better saves from the keeper. She came out, saved it very well, but saved it in such a way that it wasn't cleared amazingly to her players or off the side of the pitch. It might have gone out for a corner, but Argentina were still very much on the attack. And again, this sort of played out and then just fizzled out. Belgium then took their turn, got right down to the far end, and got a penalty corner. They won it off an Argentinian foot, forgive me. And The first initial flick was saved. The rebound shot then was hit over the bar. And again, Argentina on the attack, Belgium deep in defense, trying to have those breakaway successes, but nothing was happening. It was quite a frantic last quarter. I think, again, the pressure of going, right, this is the last quarter, we're 2-all. Either we have to try and get a goal, or I don't want to push too hard and let them get the goal. And then another 5-minute yellow card. This time it was for Argentina. It was for a bad tackle and pushing off, bad tackle and a bit of a push. And this meant actually she was off for the rest of the game. There was only 3 minutes 15 left at this point. And you'd be absolutely sick to your stomach if that actually had a massive impact in the game, which it very much could have if either team was firing on all cylinders in that final third of the pitch, let's call it that attacking third of the pitch. If it could have been a completely different story. Belgium held the ball well and attacked Argentina as this player was off. Argentina, this time, it was their turn to defend very deep. Though, Gozzolini, I must say, from her penalty corner flicks to her defensive work was brilliant throughout the match, but especially in this fourth quarter. She was defending brilliantly, not giving away the fouls that could. Cause she was the last defender in quite a lot of these attacks, and if she missed it, if she leant too hard into a tackle, it could have easily been a short corner, and this is a goal scoring short corner, potentially a card for her goal scoring attempt. But she defended brilliantly, and actually the last couple of her block tackles, nice low block tackles, led to very strong Argentinian attacks. And Argentina actually won a penalty corner from one of these breakaway attempts off a Gozzolini tackle with 17.6 seconds left. Belgium reviewed it, because may as well at this point. It, though, remained a penalty corner. First attempt, straight off the first runner's foot, off the first runner's foot, and it was a reward. So Rayward short corner came. The flick was saved well. The rebound was then saved by the goalkeeper once again, but it was cleared out brilliantly by a sliding in defender. Defender came in, loaded the ground, slid, but was still managed to get the ball in the end of the stick, not impeding on any Argentinian player, and clearing the ball out. And then we went to a shootout. That was the end of the fourth quarter, and we ended up going to a shootout. Now, just before we go to the shootout statistics, full time, Argentina had 57% of the possession and Belgium had 43%. So they lost a couple of percentage points in possession, but you could still see that Argentina predominantly holding the ball in possession and trying to get those attacks. Though Belgium had 6 in the first half circle attacks, they had 12, so they doubled it and still weren't able to score massively in that second half. Though the big one was Argentina went from 8 to 23. Now that's a huge jump. They had 23 circle attacking attempts to Belgium's 12. So that just shows the level of defense that Belgium had in that. They had Argentina during the game had more opportunities, but just couldn't finish. And this was definitely down to, like I said, that strong Belgium defense. The game was played well between both teams during open time, though I think it all, once you look at it, looking back at it, it felt a very safe game from both teams when they were in lead of the match. So when Belgium went 1-0 up, they then played very safe hockey. They weren't risking any attacks, played very safe. It then went 1-1, and then it sort of slowed down. Both teams slowed down in fear of getting the opposition, letting them score. And then again, Argentina went 1-0 up, step back, slowed the game right down. Belgium then a bit of pace behind them, drew, and then it went 2-2 in the last half of the second quarter, and really second half it was very safe play from both in terms of not risking too many players forward. And again, neither team took their goalkeeper off. just proves that both attacks were very close. And I think the safety of that keeper in the net was probably what was keeping them from doing that. So, like I said, we go to a penalty shootout. Belgium go first. First one was a miss. It went wide. Argentina then stepped up. It was scored, but it was just scored in time. Like, I would have said there was probably about 0.2, 0.3 seconds left on the clock when the ball went in. It was very close. Belgium then took their next one. It was saved. Argentina took their next one. It was saved. It was a poor attempt. Belgium scored. Argentina then scored. Belgium, they then had their opportunity. It was saved. So Argentina just had to score this goal to win, and they did. To be honest, Belgium lost that penalty corner because their attempt on goal just wasn't there. Their attempt on goal in these shootouts just wasn't there. I thought they were very straightforward saves for the keeper to make, and because of that, the keeper was then was able to clear them out of the D much easier, opposed to having to make a hard save. The ball's dropped back in there, and it's still in play. These saves were very easy to take and clear out of the circle and waste that last bit of time. Even the Belgians, when they were running from the 25 line in, it was all very slow. You compare that to the Argentinians, and this is where they were able to show their pace and their skill during this. And really, they were able to move the keeper very well, come back, get the goal, pulling the keeper from left to right, pull it under the reverse, hitting a reverse shot, or pull it under the strong side and flicking over a foot. It was very well done by them. And really, I think during the match, I think 2-2, I've said it before, 2-2 was the right result. During the penalty shootouts, Argentina deserved to win it. So absolutely, congratulations to Argentina winning the bronze medal match. Look, commiseration to Belgium, but they have to look at this tournament and go, you know what, we did extremely well. And let's go on world rankings. They finished fourth. They're ranked number 4 in the world, I think, which is, they've finished where their level is, which is always brilliant. It's better to finish level than finish behind. Yes, they would have loved to have got a bronze, even to get into that final, but I think, I've said it before in previous episodes, they are a team that's on the rise. They've worked very hard, and they should be proud of their performance throughout the tournament. Probably just need to maybe work on some penalty shootout tactics, looking into the future. But Argentina, very well deserved silver or bronze medal from the shootout win. Now, before we move on to the final, Simon Mason was able to do a quick reporting from outside the stadium where Argentina were doing a lot of celebrating. What was happening, Simon?
There's so many contributing factors to sporting success, and the Argentinian ladies behind us who have without a shadow of a doubt contributed to the course of this Olympic tournament. They took a bronze medal today on a shootout from Belgium, but for them it's all about passion and family. Whether they're playing Rosario, Buenos Aires, they're turning up in the coach that is literally rocking with the music they bring to it, or whether it's here in Paris at the end of their competition when the women are celebrating with the children across the squad. They've been in circles here this afternoon just outside the stadium at Yves Saint Menoir, and it's fabulous. It's fabulous to watch, to see the energy and the enthusiasm that they bring. Now that there's a bit of downtime, they can enjoy their bronze medals, and the children in the background. Moments ago they were dancing to Frozen. Now the whole side's getting involved. They're here together, celebrating as a single unit, which undoubtedly has contributed to their bronze medal success.
Thank you very much, Simon, for your report. It is great to see the Argentinian women's team celebrating with their children and their family. I think it is well deserved. They have always been huge presence at the hockey pitch, coming to it on the pitch, off the pitch. And it's great to see with a bit of downtime, they're able to celebrate well with their families. And I'm sure they were celebrating later on in that in the day too. So the final, Netherlands v China. Bit of backstory. The Dutch have been in the past 7 World Cup finals. The Dutch, since 1984, the LA Games, when they were first, when the Dutch were first in playing hockey, they have been awarded a medal in all but one since then, which is unbelievable. That is dominance at the highest order. I thought, and I probably would have said, 90% of the people that were going to watch this match thought the Dutch were going to wipe the floor with the Chinese. Yes, the China have been fantastic through the tournament. They would have played well, but I think going into this, I was, probably very Dutch sided on how I thought this match was going to go. How stupid and wrong I was in thinking that during normal time of hockey, it ended up 1-1. Brilliant result. It went to a shootout and the Dutch won 3-1. It was a fantastic game. Really, from the first quarter, the Dutch played brilliant possession. Really well, played really well at keeping the ball, bring the ball out into sort of attacking position to sort of feel out how the Chinese defense were going to play. And it sort of played like that for a bit. And China got the ball, went right down the far end. Great passing play, great run. Got right down into the byline, played the ball across, and there was a touch from Chen Yi. The ball went in, and China scored first. Brilliant deflection, took it round the keeper, and it was fantastic. China have gone 1-0 up very quickly into quarter one. So straight away from the head off, the Dutch just back into possession and were really trying, but nothing was coming from this. China were defending very well. They were playing almost like a smothering defense. So anytime the Dutch got the ball, there was 2, maybe 3 Chinese players going around them. If not making the tackle, put them under pressure for then the third person or the second person to come in and take the ball off them. It was very well structured defense from the Chinese. And really, there was only 2 attacking shots in this whole quarter. One was from China, which they scored, and the second was a Dutch shot. It was really well saved, and it was cleared very well. So the Dutch didn't have a massive amount of opportunities in this first quarter to have a proper shot at the Chinese goalkeeper. That's because China sat very deep in how they played, and really it was the Dutch trying to put pressure on the Chinese D. China wasn't allowing them to, though I think because of how high the Dutch were sitting, China could see that there was potential breakaways on here, and this happened a few times then later on in the match, where then it meant that the Dutch had to sit back a wee bit in preparation in case a breakaway happened. And then all of a sudden the quarter was over. Done. First quarter over like that, 1-0 China, roll on quarter 2. Once again, Dutch started very strong in how they were possessing the ball. Really good lead-in play. Nice bounce pass into the midfield, out to the defence, and then making the play into the space. They win a penalty corner from this, though China did review it, and they won this review, so it was a free out. And this was 1 minute 20 into the quarter, so real early pressure from the Dutch going in. And really, the Dutch just constantly kept this pressure going. Every attack, though, was met with this Chinese wall. And they had, again, along with this threat of a breakaway, China always had one player deep. You could call it an old money a sweeper, but it wasn't quite that role throughout the match. They always had this one person deep, which meant on the Dutch breakaway or the attacking attempt, the Dutch player might have got past the defender that was shadowing them, but the next ball was then going right to this free covering Chinese defender, because they were then covering the space while the other defender was coming in behind and marking out the potential higher Dutch player. So it was really well structured. Again, you could see the elements of Dutch play from Alison Annan's style coming through, and it was a real clash of styles. Yes, it always helps that you know slightly how the other team play, with Alison Annan previously coaching the Dutch, but you could see the style of hockey being very similar from both. The Dutch just have this slightly more finessed way of playing it. China are definitely very close, and I think by the end of this match, everyone really needs to keep an eye on this team for the next few years, because there's real potential for them to turn into a really slick hockey team that could really threaten the Dutch in further competitions. The Dutch had patient play, which led to a penalty corner off a Chinese foot. There was about 4 minutes 50 left, so right near the last bit of the quarter, and it was flicked and it came off the post. And the second phase shot was really well defended, and it came off a back stick of the Dutch player, so it was a free out China. Really good defensive PC work there from China. And really, Dutch kept the possession, strong Chinese defense, and really that's how the quarter ended up. The Dutch did get a stroke. They won a stroke for a really bad tackle, but actually China reviewed it. It hit off a foot, but because it hit a foot before the whistle was blown, it was then re-awarded for a penalty corner, and China kept the referral. And it was ran down, and China got a breakaway play from it. Went right back to the Dutch players, and it all just flowed back into the normal state of hockey of the Dutch just trying each time, just trying. And I must say, again, very quick quarter. It came to the end. It came to the end of the half, and it was like, oh, that's just happened unbelievably quickly. There was very few stops in play. It all went very smoothly. So the halftime stats, I know it's what you always look forward to. Possession, 60% to the Dutch, 40% to China. You could see that the Dutch had the majority of the ball, but just not having the ability to get through this Chinese defensive wall. The Dutch had 9 circle entries. China only had 4, and they scored from one of them. Goal attempts, so field goal attempts, the Dutch had 3, didn't score any. China had 1 and scored 1. So you could see the stats were very close. And then penalty corners, at this point, the Dutch had 2 and hadn't scored any, and China had none. So very close half. And it was a close half because the Chinese defense was so strong in this. And you could see the frustration coming in, but because of the experience of the Dutch girls and the Dutch players, it wasn't coming out quite like some of the other teams. Like if this was the match before that Argentina Belgium match, there would have been green cards for shouting by now. So it was very well respected game towards the umpires, towards either team, and it meant that everyone stayed on the pitch for the first half. Going into quarter 3, strong 25-25 play. Really, there was no mass circle entry getting these attacking opportunities. And really, they were matching each other throughout the match, matching each other on the attacks. One team was attacking well, then the other team had a quick attack, and it just played, like I said, in between those 25s. It's where we needed our possession statistic of the pitch. I would say 80% of play was in the middle 2 quarters of the pitch. China really forced the Dutch to play a really constant passing structure, and they had to pass it around the back line. They got stuck in a corner. They had to come out and try and come round, and because they had really no forward options. Again, really good Chinese defensive play. Led on to the second open play save for the Chinese goalkeeper in the whole match, which was halfway through the third quarter with 6 minutes left, and the Chinese keeper made a great save. Like I said, that was only the second time the keeper had to make a save in the match. China then had a great attacking chance. It was a great aerial into the D, and I thought this was it. This was where China's going to go ahead 2-0. She hits it and just hooks the ball. You could see in the slow-mo replay, she swung through the ball and twisted her hands. So instead of hitting the ball flat like this, she's hit it at a slight angle and it swerved out past the goal, missing the net. If she connected with it straight, the keeper wasn't saving it. it would have gone right into that far corner, and the keeper was just a step too far to her left to potentially make that save. So a real opportunity missed for China at this point. Again, right down the far end, real end-to-end stuff at this point of the quarter. The Dutch had a chance. There was a free on the edge. They played it in, and the shot attempt was forced wide from the Chinese defensive unit. And basically, from the last 2 minutes of this quarter, the Dutch were playing crash ball hockey. They were getting it. They were long handle hits right into the circle. They were aiming for deflections. If they weren't aiming for a deflection from a Dutch girl into the net, they were looking for a miss trap from the Chinese onto a foot, or just missed the ball completely right onto a Chinese foot, looking for those short corners. And they did. They won a short corner from this, though this time it was for quite a horrendous stick tackle. There was 1 minute 40 left. China reviewed it. They lost it. Janssen wasn't on the pitch, so Matler had to step up. She took a flick, and it was touched wide for a long corner. And eventually that long corner play leads to a Chinese free out, and the quarter ends. Another brilliant quarter. It was real good solid hockey from both teams. Yes, you were probably looking at it going, right, would the Dutch kick into high gear and do something here? But actually, they couldn't. They couldn't kick any higher at this point because the Chinese just had them defensively worked out. They knew what they were going to do. Like I said, they had 2 or 3 of the Chinese players making those defensive tackles, really smothering, taking the air out of the game in that final third, attacking third, and they did brilliantly. And they kept that momentum going into the fourth quarter. Now, right, I would have said minute and a half into the quarter, Sarah Wilson, the umpire, had to tell the Chinese girls to start hurrying up with the frees and the hitouts. I thought that was quite funny. It was maybe a wee bit early to attempt the time wasting tactic, but they certainly were doing their best. China won a penalty corner. It was off a Dutch foot from a crash ball in, doing exactly what the Dutch were doing in the quarter before. Really strong flick. The Dutch keeper made a great save. And actually, I think this was only her first even time touching the ball the whole time. The first time it went straight past her and into the back of the net in that first quarter. And I don't think she touched the ball since then. Well, she touched the ball picking out of the back of her net. But I think this was the first, maybe the second shot she had to deal with. And she dealt with it well, because we all know in these long periods of time when the keepers aren't doing anything, minds wander, you lose, you get distracted. But she was really well focused, made a great save, and led to a free hit that went against China and got right down. Dutch started playing their style of hockey again. Though I will say, after this free hit, it was very well noticed that every free hit that the Dutch got, they just went right free, straight back, and defended brilliantly. They got in behind or in front of the ball from a Dutch free hit very, very well. It's clearly something they've been working on, where there's a free hit, turnover, and they're getting in front to try and get in defensive structure very, very quickly. And again, I think this was one of the things that really aided them in this match. It really meant that the Dutch couldn't even take quick frees, because the Chinese girls were getting their 5 meters and setting themselves. They were getting their 5 meters very, very quickly. So it was well structured into them. Though the Dutch win a penalty corner for a bit of danger. In the circle, Janssen's on the pitch. She takes the flick and scores it right into the bottom corner. It did take a bit of deflection, but it doesn't matter. It was still going goalwards, and it was 1-1 at this point. And I think there was about 9 minutes left, so plenty of games still to play. And with this goal, it means that the Dutch have scored in every match they have played in since February 2020. 4 years of scoring a goal in every match you've played. That is unbelievable. It just shows the dominance of this Dutch team and how they have played. Like I said, they have not lost a match in the Olympics in a long time. They've only lost a handful of matches in 4 years. They are an unbelievably committed, strong, and just a brilliant team of hockey players. So the Dutch tails up. They've got this goal. They are fighting. They are playing strong possession, real hard attack and pressure. And even from hitouts, they were putting a really strong press on the Chinese just to try and see if they make a mistake. But again, this came to no avail. The Chinese were just knuckling in, making really good smothering tackles throughout. Dutch Alba, she had a free hit and a real strong chance for the Netherlands, but it was really well stopped and defended by the Chinese. She got the ball, she was in space, she went to hit the ball, and all of a sudden 2 Chinese defenders appeared in front of her and hit off their sticks and they were away. China's defense, though, at this point, I think out of tiredness, was becoming a bit more frantic. You could see them hitting the ball away a wee bit more and just not panic, but I think it was the tiredness coming in because they have worked extremely hard up to this, and the frantic nature was starting to come into the last 4 minutes of this match, which is very understandable to the point of how well they have done. It led to this sort of frantic nature led to a Dutch penalty corner for a foot. There's about 2 minutes 26 left. Jansen's on the pitch. Her flick was saved, really well saved, but constant pressure then from the Dutch, and basically from this 2 minutes 26 right to about 40 seconds left, the Chinese or the Dutch were pressing really high. They kept the ball well in this area, this final attacking third for them against China, working it really, really well. And again, defended brilliantly. They got a breakaway. 40 seconds left. China won a penalty corner in the Dutch circle for a backstick. The Netherlands reviewed it. It was upheld, and it was a free out to the Dutch. They did get a ball. They'd got the ball back, and it was with seconds left that China tried to play a cross into the circle. It was missed at the back post. The game ended, and we go to another shootout. It's 3 shootouts in a row. We've had the men's gold medal match. We've had the women's bronze medal match, and now we've had the gold medal match, all going to shootouts. So absolutely frantic. And again, well played from both teams. Both teams did really well. I must say, I was really impressed with how the Dutch didn't lose their heads through this match. I thought, like I said before, this was prime frustration from any other team. If this was to happen to, like I said, the 2 teams beforehand or any other teams in the tournament, there would have been green cards, yellow cards coming all out at this point. And it was very impressive to see that this didn't happen. So absolutely hats off to the Dutch, hats off to China for defending and playing and matching the Dutch level throughout this match. But we go to a shootout and everything changes in a shootout. That's why we love them. So the Netherlands went first, and it was scored by Sanders. China took theirs. It was a save, good save from the Dutch goalkeeper. Netherlands second one, Verschoor, scored. China saved again. So we're 2-0 at this point. And the Dutch scored their third one, but they scored it about a second after the 8 seconds was over, so it didn't stand. So still 2-0. China's stepped up, and Jia Chai stepped up, scored the goal. It is now 2-1. So it all came down to this last 2. So the Netherlands, Veen, scored. China stepped up to try and keep this going, and it was an initial save by the goalkeeper, came back to the Chinese player and just got their stick caught and pushed the ball wide, and therefore the Netherlands win 3-2 on penalty shootouts. What a game it was. The Chinese performance throughout the match was just fantastic. They matched the Dutch attacks with a really strong defensive play, and they had them just going throughout the match. I would say the Dutch would be disappointed looking back on that match not to have scored more during the game. Um, their strength really showed. Their strength and experience really showed in that penalty shootout, leading to their 5th gold medal and their 8th medal in total, which is just outstanding. So the full time stats in the end, and again, this shows you how close it was. In possession, it stayed the same, 59-41 in terms of the net in the Netherlands. Again, you can see how much pressure they were putting on that Chinese defense. Circle entries. Now, China had 4 in the first. They only got 8. So they only had 4 more circle opportunities in the second half, while the Dutch had 10 more. They went from 9 to 19. So again, you can see how the balance of the skills were. The Dutch were having more of the ball, more of attacking opportunities, but just not being able to do anything with it. Again, from field goal attempts, they went from 3 to 8. So they had the opportunities there, but weren't able to score. China had 1 from 1 in the first half, 1 from 2 in the second half. For full time. So they only had 1 more attacking opportunity, and that was saved. Like I mentioned, that was saved in the fourth quarter, and that was the first actual save from the keeper. So it's unbelievable. In penalty corners, the Dutch scored 1 from 5, 1 from 5, and the Dutch have been relentless. Have been one of the more relentless teams in their short corner attack. And China had 1 penalty corner attempt, but didn't score anything. So you can see the stats; they were so unbelievably close. And look, I couldn't finish this match without mentioning the Chinese coach Alison Annan. She has taken the Chinese team from being nowhere at the end of Tokyo and have brought them just from strength to strength. She has worked brilliantly hard. She has a great team of coaches and assistant coaches working with her. That also helps, yes, but she's done brilliantly. You can see during this match, she, in all fairness, was happy to be there. She had a smile on her face the whole time. She was barking instructions, but she was barking instructions at the right time. She was, the game ended. She brought her team in, had a huddle, had a team talk with them. And then when they all got up, yes, the Chinese players were upset, but you could see it on the television. She was telling them to smile, be happy. You've just won an Olympic silver medal. And they took it to the Dutch throughout that match. So you could see how happy she was. Yes, there'll be disappointment that they didn't win in during the match. But to take her team from where they were to now in 3 years because of the COVID delay is unbelievable. She should be so proud. The Chinese players should be so proud. It was a great game of hockey to have watched. And it was the last game of hockey to have watched. We've done it. The Olympics for the hockey is now officially over. What an Olympic tournament for the men and women's it was. It was fantastic. There was ups, there was downs, there was great play, and to be honest, there was very little poor play. There was some occasional ones, but it was brilliant. I think it was one of the stronger Olympic game tournaments that we've had in a good long time, and that's due to the quality of the teams. The more international matches that these teams are playing just makes them stronger, and I think that was testament in these games where you could see the strength of each team coming out from having played each other, from not having played each other. Everyone put up a fight. It was brilliant. I enjoyed watching every match. Though at the very start, when there was 8 matches a day, it was a struggle. But when we went to 4 and 2, it was so much easier. And thank you very much, everybody. I think it's been great to see your comments and how you've been enjoying these. We will be doing, myself, Alan, and Simon will be doing a games recap where we're going to go over the best moments, some things that we were surprised with, some things that we didn't maybe think go to script. We will do that, but I think we're going to have a couple of days off before we do that, so we can look back at it in a much fonder light. And once again, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you want to comment below what your women's finals day moment was, and as always, remember to like and subscribe so we can keep doing this. I think once this Olympic recap episode comes out later on, I think that'll be the end of what we'll call season 1. And looking forward to season 2, which is going to be a bit more podcast style based, where we're going to get some guests on, some very special guests, some guests that you might have already been watching over the past couple of weeks. And I'm excited to have these conversations with the guys. Some current stars, some past stars, some people that you've seen before, and some new people. So thank you very much for allowing us to do it. Like I said, like and subscribe. And as always, because if you don't want to watch me, which is fair enough, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. But guys, thank you very much. What an Olympics it was. What an Olympics it was. And we'll see you in 4 years' time. Bye.